Welcome back to What She Said Sports. I did not forget to change my background. It is intentional. We are going to tie it all together. Um, the last 2 days, we have seen back to back evidence that the Sanders family is covered. Shador, Coach Prime, back to back, day to day. That's not a coincidence. But today we're primarily focusing on Coach Prime. Now, tonight we'll talk more about Shador and his journey with the Cleveland Browns, but we're going to tie it all together. Now, I knew that the press conference was today, so I felt like I had to get my mind set to be open. I never assumed the worst, and I knew something took place, didn't know when, etc. So the doctors being there is what I thought, there to confirm and clarify some things and let us know what the future looks like for Coach Prime. So first and foremost, I want to congratulate Coach Prime and his medical team and his staff for coming together today to share with us his future outlook and his private health struggle. And they work together in tandem to ensure Coach Prime has a cancer-free diagnosis. And that's what he has. And I want to say congratulations to Coach Prime for being cancer-free. Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. I know there are people who are probably in the comments that they probably lost loved ones to cancer. So have I. But like Coach Prime said, he don't ask why me. We don't ask why me. But I have lots of notes on. I watched the press conference and I took notes as it was taking place. And I have a lot of notes, right? And since then, I've mentally summarized what I want to talk about, what I want to say, starting off with Coach Prime is cancer-free. Thank God, because that's who we need to thank. Thank God. And the second thing I thought when I heard of what he was dealing with, bladder cancer, aggressive bladder cancer diagnosis, I said, shame on the NFL. That's exactly what I said. I said, shame on the NFL. Why? Why would I say shame on the NFL? Some people are going to say, yeah, well, remember, he had his surgery scheduled before then. He sure did. When you're growing up, you were taught to be mindful of the way you treat people because you never know what they're dealing with. You never know what they're going through. They scapegoated this man. Also that they could justify holding back his son from the QB1 position. And as y'all know, Coach Prime been dealing with a private health diagnosis that apparently Shador didn't even know about, which means he's been nowhere near Cleveland. And they're still mistreating his son, which is why Shador is in the background. Shame on the NFL for kicking on a person, scapegoating a person, not knowing what they are going through. Well, now we know. Coach Prime chose to be vulnerable and reveal, being transparent to us that he was dealing with an aggressive form of bladder cancer, that he had to undergo, he had to go through the mental challenge of a solution, a way forward, and going to the doctor for 3 years every week for cancer treatment that was only a 50-50 chance that he would be cancer-free was not his way forward. Lauren was there. She told us that his primary focus was a way forward for his kids and for the football program. And I said, for all of the people who claim that Coach Prime is selfish and is doing this for him, it's not about the program, just stop. You ought to feel this big. You ought to feel this big. And for those trying to take him down, because yes, he talked about having to change his phone number. I saw online people were saying he was leaving the program because that's what they want to happen. For all those people with salty hearts, just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Because it should be obvious to you at this point that Coach Prime is covered. See, this could have went totally different. See, it could have been he skipped that checkup. Then the draft happened. And unbeknownst to him, an aggressive tumor becomes more aggressive, exacerbated by the stress of what happened to Shador in the draft. There are people that say Shador sold so many jerseys because of what the NFL did to him in the draft. Shame on the NFL. Because you are taught to be mindful of how we treat people, because you never know what they are going through. And look at what he was going through while they scapegoated him because they don't want his son and other black quarterbacks to be QB1s because white quarterbacks are becoming the minority. Shame on the NFL. If Shador wasn't there, I wouldn't even watch it. Not knowing what I know. This man said nothing untoward towards these people. Mentally dealing with catheters, colostomy bags, trying to figure out how to move forward so his football team can get to the next level. He gonna get that championship. He gonna get that third championship just like he got the other two. Shame on the NFL. With their evil little salty hearts. Scapegoating a man that they call brother and friend and just had on the damn stage. That is betrayal to the closest degree. Did any one of them come see him? No. He listed off who came to see him. None of them. None of them. Roger Goodell was so worried about him. Super Bowl weekend, why he didn't show up. And if his own son didn't know, like I said, then Roger Goodell didn't know what the hell Coach Prime was going through either. Because if he did, he would have shown up. So when he told Roger Goodell, told Coach Prime, told Shador, Super Bowl weekend, I'm worried about your pops. He didn't know what the hell was going on. He didn't have a goddamn clue because nobody else did. Not even his own children. But what happened after that? So I'm here to tell you, coincidences are a way of God being anonymous. It's not a coincidence he went to that checkup and found what he found, and then the draft happened. Timing, the order of things in which they occur are very important. That was God covering Coach Prime. Before you get to this, let's take care of this first, because that could take you out, and it could have. You heard the doctor say that tumor was aggressive. He made the right choice. He sacrificed his lifestyle so he could have life for his kids. Lauren said his sons, he corrected her gently and said, hey, I got daughters. They will never forget that. They are not forgotten because the sons do get a lot of attention. He said, I got daughters, my kids. They will never forget that. This press conference was a reminder that life is fleeting. It does not last very long. I knew before I pressed play, change was going to be the topic of conversation. His lifestyle changed. He sacrificed his lifestyle so he can go to the bathroom when he wants to on his own time and not to have a porta potty on the field, something that he could make light of. He's a good person. So if you hear anybody speaking negatively about Coach Prime, evil reigns in their heart. This man has shown that his kids that he brought into this world and that program at Coach Prime, so much so that he at Colorado, so much so that he didn't even tell them because he didn't want any of them to be off. He wanted Shiloh to focus. He wanted Shador to focus. We talked about that. I said in our community, see, people like to kick the black community. In the black community, when we got kids in college and getting to the next level because we know how hard it is to get there and they did the hard work, we keep things close to our vest to disrupt what they have going on because we don't know the outcome. So he fought this challenge privately outside of Shador and Shiloh so they could get to the next level. All the while, the NFL is working to hold back the program. Everybody talking about how Jimmy Horn Jr. the best one out there. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Shiloh learning the playbook quickly. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Shador told us, I'm getting comfortable with that playbook. And they want to spin the narrative that he's having trouble learning the plays. What did Coach Pollock tell us when the New York Giants tried it? Shame on the NFL for using that tired trope. that black men can't be in a thinking position, which is quarterback for the NFL, because they covered it so much, because the NFL sees that white quarterbacks that starts are becoming the minority. Shame on the NFL. Scapegoating this man at one of the most challenging times of his life, because they didn't learn, or they didn't choose to respect, be mindful of how you treat people, because you never know what they're going through. And they called him brother and friend, and he made them millions upon millions. And his son, Shador, has already made them $250 million. But they want to kick him too. But they can't. They can't break neither one of them. That's what came from this week. The week just got started. They can't break Shador. He going to be right there till God open the door, and so will Coach Prime. So will Coach Prime. He chose to make sacrifices. His lifestyle will forever be changed. But the fact that he can make light of it, the reporter Jack Carlo asked about it. How could you, how is it that you can make light of the situation? It's his perspective and his faith, his purpose. He understands he's being used. He said it. Some of y'all out there need to get a checkup. That's right. That's right. That's right. She said it. For men, bladder cancer is at the top of the list of things, the cancers that men can endure. He made light of the fact that he has 8 toes, and he and Snow will both be weighing to see who got the biggest bag at the end of the night. On how he struggled trying to find a solution on Amazon for him to wear, so that, because technically he can't determine when he has to go to the bathroom. So he and Snow are in the same place. That's what happens when you begin to age. But with Coach Prime, the aging was spurred on by an aggressive tumor, that if he didn't get that checkup and he had gone to that draft or endured that draft the way we saw him, fierceness, it would have no doubt been aggressive and must metastasize to the next places that it can, the muscle. He made sacrifices to have a private battle. So the people that say he's selfish and he's all about the program, that's a lie. People just knew he was gone because he was going to the NFL. Isn't that amazing? Had nothing to do with that, because they have hatred as their perspective. Shame on the NFL. While you worried about Coach Prime being in Shador's shadow, he over here dealing with life-threatening, life-altering cancer of the bladder, that he actually has a new bladder made up of his tissue. His inner circle kept it quiet. People thought it was about his toes. He even said, he told them, kids, it's about his toes, because he didn't want them to worry. That's what we do in the Black community. We protect our young. When they make it to the next level, we like, you know what? We're not about to tell so-and-so at college, let them focus. She just started her new job. Let her focus. She's graduating. Let her focus. And sometimes they don't understand why we don't tell them things, because we don't know for sure. So we're not going to disrupt you. That's love. We're not going to put any stress on your mental. We want you to get where you have dreamed of going, because we're not 100% certain. That's love. That's what love looks like for people that don't know. That's what love looks like. You shield and protect from the uncertain until you are certain. I am not about to throw you off of your focus, which will get you to the next level. We already had our turn. So Coach Prime said he's back, and he is. Life is different, and it is. So for those that said he's selfish, every time you see a porta potty on the side at CU's games, check yourself. Check your salty little evil heart, because he's anything but. He had the courage to be transparent. He didn't have to share anything with us. Colorado knew he was away. They knew. We didn't have to know a damn thing. Coach Prime just embraced a player at the end of the season who had to step away because of cancer. Had this young man's jersey hanging up in his office. The young man just came back. Then it was Coach Prime's turn to take that journey. And he's back. He said Randy Moss called him every other day. Randy Moss had his own journey with cancer, and he's back. I'm sure he's grateful for his doctors who are about to be busier probably for the next decade, because people are looking for doctors like the doctor he had that was there today, who could explain the real options to us and not be biased with medical racism on what you think we should do. Who wasn't negative, but let his values lead, to be there for his kids and his program. Therefore, the solution, a new bladder. It was a lifestyle sacrifice, but hey, being here for my kids and my program was important. So when you hear people hating on Coach Prime, saying he's selfish, it's all about him, you call them out, because that's our job. That's our job. You can't say you a fan of somebody or you admire somebody and stay silent when you see people abusing them or lying on them. That's our job. When it comes to Shadua, that is our job. Faith without works is dead. Accountability, that's our job as fans. All I can think is shame on the NFL. Those of us who know what it looks like when you're being held, people think, oh, God, imagine if I didn't find out about that. God wasn't going to let that happen. You were supposed to find out about it so you can know God got you, because this next step going to be tough. Look at what Shador is going through. Didn't he tell us he growing in his faith? Look at what's happening in practice. Doing everything to throw him off his game, embarrass him, hell, mentally abuse him so he'll quit, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's what you want him to quit. He ain't quitting. So you're wasting your time. Coach Prime shared with us about how years ago he was on side the road contemplating taking his own life, and God said no. Well, cancer tried it and God said no. So guess what? For the haters, it's futile. You might as well go find something else to do. Go focus on your own life, because the more you meddle in Coach Prime's and try to hold back Shador, your life gonna blow up right before your eyes. God said no. This man has a purpose. He didn't have to make one sacrifice. He could have took time away every day, every week to go up there and have treatment so he could go to the bathroom when he want. He like, no, forget that. I want to be there for my program to get to the next level. They're going to get there. But it ain't going to be easy, because he has too much opposition who don't want him to be in the position of leadership and power and college football, the coveted Power 5, because he's Black. And that is the same thing for Shador. They are fighting the same battle when it comes to their occupations. People who don't want them in leadership positions of power because they're Black. Michael Penix Jr. said it. I got the ball to Kyle Pitts today. You're going to see a lot of that. That's power. They don't want Shador with that. I guess they don't want Shador deciding what receiver he going to throw to. So they don't want Shador with the power. They don't want Coach Prime with it. So they antagonize both of them every chance they get because they are Black. Don't mince words. It's not the culture. It's racism. Coach Prime did not have to deal with medical racism. He's cancer-free. There are some people that lost their families that know that that's what some of their families were dealing with when they were being treated. Coach Prime is showing people out there, sometimes you have to make a sacrifice for your loved ones, for what matters to you, the program. So, okay, we're going to have a porta potty on the side, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be wrapped with the buffalo. Hell, I was wondering where the players went to the bathroom for the whole game, because that's a long time not to go. So when you see it, it's a reminder of the sacrifice that this man has made so he could be dedicated to this program and be here for his children. And the fact that he could be vulnerable, transparent, and make light of the situation, whether he was talking about him and Snow or talking about his will. I know that had to be hard. I know that had to be hard. He joked about it. Well, let me see how much Shiloh gonna get. It's like I'm ranking my kids again. That had to be hard. It chokes me up when I think about it. It's not his time. And for the people trying to take them down, his presence at CU is God-given. And you can't take what you didn't give him. Do they need to move carefully and wisely? Yeah, because people getting desperate. But it's obvious he's covered. Even unbeknownst to him, he was in danger. And God timed it all right. Surgery scheduled before the draft. I know at some point he was like, thank God, because this stress would have exacerbated it. It would have. That's God. What's going on in Cleveland? Also God. Trying to hold back somebody who said, what? I'm a child of God. And they losing. Are they going to stop? Nope. Nope. Not at all. But guess what? They don't care. But that's why we're here. Accountability. That's what we are. We're accountability. Just because they're carrying it well, just because they're covered, we're the choir. We're to sing accountability as loud as you can. Because the behavior is evil. And it's actually working. It's working. This man is strength in the face of adversity. His son got it from him. And now you see why. They both have opposition who would like none other than for them not to be there, but that's not up to them. And that's what they should have learned today and yesterday. It's not up to you. I love how he had his list to thank everybody. Travis was at the top. Look at the timing. Look at the timing. Travis was getting married. It's the first time we heard wind of anything because Coach Prime wasn't there. Bucky said it. You knew why we couldn't be there. Bucky talked about how he didn't live in the house with Coach Prime. He lived with him every summer. God knew you were going to get your time. Constant companion. Talked about how he didn't even want to film everything. Coach Prime said, no, I need you to film it. He was like, I just want to be your son. And he said, I need you to film this. Coach Prime said today, we got receipts on everything. That Amazon special, Netflix, Netflix is doing a documentary on Coach Prime set to come out in 2026. It's going to be one hell of a documentary. Because I know they got everything from the draft to this. And what I'm saying is going to be shown before you. Shame on the NFL. Shame, shame, shame. So being a vessel, allowing yourself to be a vessel to tell somebody else, go get a checkup, is allowing God to use you. Protecting your sons who you know are on a difficult journey with people trying to hold them back is love. Choosing to have a new bladder than to be away from the team, disrupt the flow of everything. Not being ashamed to have a porta potty on the side or to tell people you and your grandson are on the same level when it comes to pottying. That's courage. That's courage. He has purpose. That's courage. Answering everybody's questions. One reporter asked him about staring death in the face. He said, I didn't stare death in the face. And really, he didn't. He found out about it. He learned the solutions. He made a sacrifice to be present for his sons and committed to his program at CU. Like he said, he used to sleep there. He used to sleep there. This man deserves nothing but respect. This is what a father does. You can't be vain and shorten your time on earth away from your kids because you can't control when you go to the bathroom. You might have to go more frequently, or you just have to have a porta potty on the field during the middle of a college game. Youth, you're surrounded by youth, and you're being reminded that your summers are shortened. One of the takeaways, the biggest takeaways, is we better love on Coach Prime right now. That's the takeaway. I didn't even want to say that. It's true, he's back. Sometimes you get a heads up from God. The clock is now ticking. And it is. He might be around till he's 90 or 100, but his quality of life could diminish. He's handling everything in stride. He's encouraging us to look after ourselves. He's protecting his children. He's staying steadfast and committed to Colorado. When a reporter asked him about relying on his coaches, he said no. He said, they're good. I'm glad they can do things without me, but I'm back. So they reassured us today that his future is intact. We better love on this man and show him some respect. And y'all better start calling out the haters because they evil. The kind of evil that feeds black babies to alligators. Buckets posted about being at a gas station not too far from where they live in Canton, Texas, and how he was having a conversation with a man, just general conversation, and looked over and saw a hat with the letters KKK on it. It floored him because the man gave no indication, no sign of anything that that's who he was affiliated with, which means you know his perspective. I wonder how many people are associated with the NFL. It's a real question. Because when you look at the way they try to take down Coach Prime program, devaluing the players, they scapegoated him, not giving a damn about how that affected him because they were his friends. Look at how many times the New York Giants had been to see you. They lied on his son. Then there's Cleveland. Shadour's off the board, but he magically lands in Cleveland, and they try to kick him every day. To this day. That's a lot for a father to deal with. Now, you add on top of that a life-threatening, life-altering cancer. And he said it. When you hear the C word, because that's what people say, it's usually the end. And typically for a lot of people, it is. Luckily, he didn't smoke. But it happened anyway. That's a heads up. You cannot smoke. You cannot drink. And if it happens anyway, thank God. God pointed it out to you in a manner that you could deal with it before you got to the worst, which was the NFL draft. Because things could have been decidedly different. My mom just texted me that a cousin or aunt of mine, actually she's my aunt, has stage 3 genetic lung cancer. So I'm firing off questions. Did she smoke? I know the word genetic mean no, but I wanted to just see. And he was like, no, but both her parents did. In fact, that's what my uncle, her dad, passed away of. So see, she didn't even smoke. And she ended up with genetic lung cancer. So here, this is what I'm saying. Life is fleeting. Stage 3, life is fleeting. This man was covered. That's what it looks like. Casting crows, what it means to be held. That's what it means to be held. You find out about this from something you didn't even want to do, because he said he didn't even like to do his routine checkups. You looking for one thing in your vascular system. You go to this checkup, and now you got to go to urologist. Luckily, they didn't say an oncologist, because that's what other people would have said and scared you to death right off the bat. So they took good care not to put him in panic mode. That's excellent. That's excellent. And then when they get there, Like he said, using Google gonna scare the hell out of you, facts. Don't do that. Because it's like you're gonna die, because a lot of people do. They don't catch it in time. They don't have the type of doctor that he had, unfortunately. Everybody don't have that. So that's a win for Coach Prime. Now he got a championship to win. His son, we have to see, because look at Coach Prime's situation, right? Found out about this tumor, that's an aggressive tumor, before the draft, which could have made things worse because the stress could have exacerbated it. There isn't a doubt in anybody's mind that what happened to Shador was intentional and ugly. Okay, ugly is just a nice word for right now, right? But we see what Coach Prime made it to the other side. Shador is still going through the storm. And although he's handling it well, and we talked about this before, we want to make sure to love on him, right? I'm glad that the kids were there loving on him. We as fans need to love on him because he's still going through it. Coach Prime made it to the other side. It's a win for Coach Prime. We don't know if Shador is going to be in Cleveland or not. And I don't even think that's the biggest concern. The biggest concern is to make sure they're not over there kicking him every single day, antagonizing him, trying to prove that as a black quarterback, he doesn't have the mental capacity to be a quarterback and lead an NFL team. Because that's where we are. That's the storm. Especially when they know exactly who he is, because they pre-draft with him. That's ugly. That's evil. And desperate people do desperate things, because now technically he's in the number 3 spot. So Shador is still going through the storm, and we want him to get to the other side where his dad is. So we can't, as fans, let up. Hold Cleveland accountable for the mistreatment of Shador Sanders and pulling out that card that basically goes back to race norming, something they just paid $1 billion to settle, that black NFL players have lower cognitive functioning than whites, is what they seem to be using on Shador. So you make sure to hold them accountable. So now we're going to check the comments and see what y'all are saying, because I know y'all have thoughts about what Coach Prime was going through. We talk as a podcast community every single day. So I know how y'all feel about this. We heard about how what people were thinking and guessing at what was going on. We talked about, was it cancer or not? And actually it turned out to be cancer. His doctor told him to be active. I could see that's where the tennis comes from. The 1.3 miles a day, doing everything you can to stay active. We talked about that. I said, I knew someone that actually had breast cancer and she had to stay active, right? So that's the key for people who are listening, who are thinking, oh, this couldn't happen to me. If your lifestyle is sedentary, you need to get active. God is good all the time. As a cancer survivor myself, I'm glad the treatment worked. Right. So you know how harrowing it could be going through it, not knowing if this is going to work or not. So thank you, Political Lil. Hey, Sabrina, how you doing? Thank you, Political Lil. Prayers up for my dog, Coach Prime. Yep. Hey, Marlon, how you doing? That's facts. And we still need to keep praying, right? We still need to keep praying, because like he said, he has 8 toes. He said his legs look like shark bites, and now you have the bladder. So while we defeated that battle, we want to keep him in prayer that his active lifestyle. He said he want to pick up about he's still down about 12 pounds, so he want to get back or better than the weight that he had before, which I think would be good if as long as he stays healthy. So the tennis, the walking, I think that's excellent. And I know he'll do it. Because he wants to be around for his family and the program. I just lost my mom a month ago today of breast cancer, right? So you know what she went through. Condolences to you. Is that why Goodell was worried about Shador's father? No, because how did he know? And why would he tell that to Shador and put that on his mind? No, they knew what was coming in the draft. Nobody knew. That's what he pointed out. Nobody knew. So he didn't know. And if he knew, he would have showed up to visit Coach Prime. That's how you know Roger Goodell was talking about what was getting ready to happen to Shador in the program in the draft. Prime is top. Yep, he is. He is. He is. God still has a calling on his life. Right. He has a purpose. And the people trying to take him down, their actions are futile. They really are. Because obviously, God has held this man. He already told him no when he tried to take his own life. And then when cancer comes, he's like, no. And then he finds out about it before the worst, which was the draft. You can't get no better protection and love from God than that. And he knows it. That's why he got choked up about it. Prime kept it 100. Yeah, he knew he was ill, and he did. And honestly, that could be one of the reasons we didn't move forward with another recruit, because we have to. Coach Prime can't be stressed. These guys, they got to conduct themselves in a certain manner. This is why the program is exactly where it is in year 3, and this happens because 1, it can self-function. 2, we have players that know we have a culture of what? Responsibility, resilience, and doing what you need to do. We don't have time to be out here playing. We're not just trying to win games. We're not trying to stress out our coach. We're not being locked up. We're not out here being suspended. The program is exactly where it needs to be for Coach Prime to deal with this, and it came to him in the offseason. That is love. That is love. When it's his time, it will be his time. But the people who think they're going to make it his time, no. The people who think they're going to remove him from this program, no. He talked about having to change his phone numbers multiple times. So the evil is there. The threat of people trying to harm him and Shador is there. When I heard about that missed snap in Cleveland, I'm like, oh, here we go. We talked about it, the O-line, and they know it. They know it. But Shador knows how to maneuver half of an O-line or a weak one. So we're going to be okay there. Yeah, stress will exacerbate an illness. It will tap on the immune system, which to me is why he's hoarse. That's exactly why he's hoarse. Yes, he knew about the surgery. He already had the time in the offseason to make a harrowing decision, and then here come the draft. Yeah, that hurt him. Yeah, that's why he's hoarse. His immune system is taxed. His surgery was scheduled. He hadn't had it yet. It was close. His surgery was close to Travis Hunter's wedding. Travis got married a month after the draft. So sometime in early May. The draft was in April. So imagine having to deal with this life-threatening, life-altering decision. Your priorities are straight. I want to be here for my kids, and I'm dedicated to the team. So I make the sacrifice on my lifestyle. That was already taken care of. But then you turn around and get hit in the face with the same organization you played for, the same organization, which is why you only have 8 toes. And why your legs, according to Coach Prime, look like shark bites, because you sacrificed your body for these people to make money, and then they want to kick you and your son and hold back your program. Shame on the NFL. That's all I'm going to keep saying. Shame on the NFL. That's where I keep going with it. I see God has Coach Prime held. He protected him from who? The NFL. Because the decision on how to move forward was already made, but he still had to endure the worst of the draft. Somebody trying to harm your kids, your babies, your kids will always be your babies. Somebody holding them up publicly, using you, blaming you for it. These are not strangers. Shame on the NFL. It's disgusting. If the fans knew about this, they shouldn't even go. Cancel them damn season tickets. What they have done is disgusting. You are taught as a young person, be mindful of how you treat people, because you don't know what they're going through. What makes it so bad is that they know him. Brother, friend, Prime. And they betrayed him, scapegoated him, so they could publicly humiliate and financially devalue his son and hold him back in his career. That's it. And took the program with it to justify and say, oh, it's not racism. No, it's exactly what it is. Capital R, capital R. Shame on the NFL. Some of them going through what he already went through. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Their hearts ought to be convicted. Shame on them. Stab this man in the back. It's some cruel people. That's what it is. It's cruelty. It is cruelty. We have organizations in this country that protect animals from cruelty, but we have nothing to protect Shador, the Colorado program, and Coach Prime from the cruelty inflicted upon all of them by the NFL. Shame on the NFL. It's shameful. It's disgusting. Gracie said, being a cancer survivor, I know all too well the emotional pain that diagnosis can bring. Also, like Coach Prime, it was an aggressive form and it was caught early so that I could be a recipient of recovery. Bless you. See, you never know what another person going through. We on here every single day. We on here every single day. And did we know this? No. But we're kind to one another. We're not cruel to one another. Thank you, Gracie. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you for sharing. You are taught to be mindful of how you treat people because you never know what they're going through. NFL didn't give a damn about their brother, their friend, Prime. But choosing to exploit all of them instead. Best wishes to Coach Prime for a speedy and complete recovery. Cancer ain't no match for Prime. Facts. What did his doctor? What did he say? His doctor told him, "I'm better than you." Obviously, she is. Obviously, she is, because what they had to do. What did she say? Robotic surgery, laparoscopy to remove the tumor, the bladder itself. Then you gotta use tissue from your intestines to create yourself a new bladder, and then you have to reattach it. Then you have to get used to it. He had to adapt also. All of that. They did all of that together, and it was not easy. It was not easy. It was not easy. He kept it silent, just like he kept the criticism silent. He said nothing about the NFL. Nothing. Now you know why. Because the battle he was dealing with was bigger. And he going to let God do the rest. And that's where we come in. Thank you, Jesus, for not only the grace you've shown to me, but especially to Coach Prime. Facts. I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. Amen, Gracie. To God be the glory. That's where it goes. That's exactly where it goes. Yesterday, when people were talking about Shador, they wish Kenny Pickett well wishes, and they said, but to God be the glory. He opened the door for Shador while they trying to hold him back, and it's facts. It's fact, somebody actually said it on X. They were like, people are saying, God this. I'm like, because God is making the crooked places straight like he said he would do. Which is why people wish Kenny Pickett well. But you can't help but see that Shador has gotten one step closer to where he deserves to be QB1. But does he deserve to bring Cleveland championship? No. But again, it will be for God's glory and Shador's good. So that part we can't argue about. We just got to, he's still in a storm. His father made it to the other side. We still got to hold Shador down. Not just hold him in prayer. That's not enough. Faith without works is dead. You have to hold the Cleveland Browns accountable. God gonna deal with the NFL. I ain't worried about that. You never know what someone is going through. Nobody's exempt. Facts. That's why when you are taught as a human being, a young person, treat people, one, the way you want to be treated, and two, be mindful of how you treat people, because you never know what they're going through. You might learn that when they're a little older, but you're going to learn it. In the NFL, everybody there should know better. $17-32 just may happen. It looked like it's going to happen one way or another. So we're going to keep holding Shador in prayer, but we're going to keep these, what they say, faith without works is dead. We're going to keep pushing on. We're going to hold Cleveland accountable at every chance. And I want y'all to know it's working, because what did I say yesterday? They said the voices are so loud about Cleveland holding Shador back, not giving him first team reps, that what happened? They said the voices are louder than a Beyonce concert. That's what I see. Marlon asked if it's true if Mary Kay got fired. Well, I'm going to put the media team on it and everybody else that can Google while we on this podcast and look it up, because to be honest with you, she should be fired. So look it up, somebody, and let us know, hopefully before this podcast ends, please, and thank you. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Prayers for Coach Prime. Yes. Just fine, just fine. Thank you. I said any extra added stress could have exacerbated the illness. It could have. It likely did. It likely did. But luckily, he already had that surgery scheduled. But yeah, don't believe me. It wasn't, that's not a coincidence. What a coincidence. First of all, there are no coincidences. God way of remaining anonymous. This could have happened in year 2. This could have happened during the season. It happened in the off season. The surgery was already scheduled. So any damage done during the draft was removed when he had robotic surgery. See how that works? Only God can do that. That does not let the NFL off the hook. Shame on NFL. God bless Coach Prime. I totally agree. I totally agree. This is twice he has dealt with life-threatening illness. Right. Right. And if he got to do it again, and it very well could happen, he going to be all right. He going to be all right. But we as fans, we're not going to stand by quietly while they try to tear this man down in the media. It ain't going to happen. That's where we come in at. Yeah, you have to admire Coach Prime. You got to check yourself if you want to say anything negative about this man. It just proves that you evil. It's proven. And he didn't have to prove it. God proved it. This man has made sacrifices to be here for this program. I don't want to hear no more talk about him leaving to go be with Shador. He has 2 sons in the NFL. Why wouldn't he go be with Shiloh? Because y'all are really saying out loud what you don't want to happen. You don't want him to be a coach in the NFL because he's going to be good. You don't want his son to be QB1 because you know you're going to win. So you'd rather lose than have a black head coach to win at a time when you started the season with 6 and now you're down to 4, trying to figure out how to get rid of Tomlin and God knows who else. You don't want Prime because you know he's good. You don't want Shador to be QB1 because you know he transforms losing organizations into winners. Is that not the description of Cleveland? Make that make sense. Coach Prime is not focused on the NFL. For a man that used to sleep in his office, and as soon as he can figure out how to sleep in his office again, and he gonna be straight and not have to, like he said, his housekeeper's got to come every single day. He don't want to inconvenience nobody. He gonna miss that. That is a life change. When you can't do what you want to do, that is a life change. That means the activities that he likes to do, he's going to have to be able to do them in a manner that he's still going to be okay, continence-wise. For a lot of people, that is they feel like they have a loss of the sense of dignity. Not him. He even said it. He don't want there to be a stigma around it. You're going to see a porta potty on the side. Somebody going to put the logo on it. I'm all for that. That's going to draw other people to him because they are silently dealing with this. And they want to hate on this man. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it because it's just downright scalping black people and stuffing the damn cushions on your sofa with their hair type of evil. That's what it is. It goes to show you that God had his hand all over his life. That's what it shows you. Him and Shador. This happened back to back. Back to back. That's exactly what it is. Hey, Kiel, how you doing? So they caught it before it metastasized. And Coach Prime was thankful for the checkup, something that he, for the most part, try to avoid, he said. I love how he made light of the situation with creating a will, which had to be mentally taxing, as well as being with your grandson, and both of y'all have to figure out, at a point where you have to protect yourself when it's time to potty, which is the fact that he can make light of that is amazing. It would have been one thing if it happened naturally as you age. He's only 57. It happened because of life-threatening cancer, life-threatening, life-altering. His lifestyle is different. He made the sacrifice. He made the choice to alter his lifestyle than to be vain. So I don't want to hear anything negative about this man. So for the people trying to shut him down, it's not up to you. The people trying to hold Shador back, it's obviously not up to you either. His faith, his perspective on life is how he can make light of it. He knows God is using him as a vessel. He knows that somebody gonna see this press conference and go get a checkup. He knows that somebody gonna get more active. He thanked everybody that was on his list. He said he's back. I watched their first team meeting yesterday. Remember, the team didn't know what was going on. He didn't want to worry them. He said he'd even recognize some of the players because Body by Swayze, Coach Swayze's strength and conditioning was so good. You know what? I'm telling y'all thought there were people at CU's games that didn't have nothing to do with CU before. Oh, they gonna show up. They gonna show up. Scouting should be very interesting, but it ain't on Coach Prime. Coach Prime know he covered by guys, so all he got to do out there is go out there and do his job, and he ain't worried about them. God gonna take care of the NFL. Believe me on that one. Wherever you see the nonsense, you call it out. You don't have to be disrespectful, but you just got to lend your voice to the accountability that's taking place. We are not the only people talking about this. Like we said, the voices are as loud as a Beyonce concert. People even question, was Pickett's injury real, or were they doing that because the pressure is on? The pressure is on so much that Cleveland fans are talking about Shador's following, demanding that he either starts or gets first team reps, etc. Shador has earned first team reps. He is visibly and by the numbers the best quarterback on the roster. Yep, shame on the NFL. That's all you can say. All love to Coach Prime. Yep, all love to Coach Prime. I'm like, if you liked him before, you likely liked him because he was transparent. He does believe in accountability. He doesn't give up easily. He is not bothered by the hatred. Bubba Watson talked about the same thing. First black driver in NASCAR to win at the Brickyard 400. He said he tuned out the outside noise. I knew what noise he was talking about. He not just talking about the typical noise from I like this driver and not you. He's talking about the noise of racism, the voices of racism, because that's what they are. And as Bucky reminded us, you never know who you talking to. They don't come off. They don't reveal their hearts to you in general conversation. People pointed out they're your doctors, your lawyers, your judges, your this, your that. Yeah. Your school administrators, your school principals, your school board advisors. Yeah. Strategically placed your police officers. Yes. Your nurses. Yes. Your doctors. Yes. That's why medical racism is a thing. I'm glad Coach Prime had his doctor up there because there were people that were going to reach out to her office. Can you help me too? Because black people, we can't trust every medical professional out there. Medical racism is too real. Too real. So he's helping somebody else probably to get closer to a doctor and avoid a doctor who is practicing medical racism rather than practicing medicine. This goes back to the beginning. Do you believe? There you go. And I don't look at it as no coincidence because I don't believe in coincidences. He just had a player to have to step away and be treated for cancer, and his player returned. His player steps away. He honors this young man. Then it's his turn. His player returns. Now he returns. God tries to save us from the worst. That's what that was. Some people call it a sign. I call it a direct message. He could have just dismissed that man from the team and went on. No, he had that young man's jersey hanging up in his office, and he had no clue what was coming for him next. What was aggressively trying to take him down. No clue. And the evil of the NFL draft compared with an aggressive tumor and the stress, that's why his voice is hoarse. I hope he gets it back. There's no guarantee. That's one thing about the immune system. Once it's taxed, it don't always go back. There's a lot of change happening here. Y'all know how fiery coaches are. Is that even good for him to be like that? No. But he's still going to do his job. That's what he got Warren Sapp for. That's what he got Warren Sapp for. I say shame on the NFL because if they don't want black quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now, they shouldn't have drafted him. That's why I said it. If you reel somebody in and lure somebody somewhere and you con them into believing that we want to benefit from you being a part of our organization, it is not that person's fault that they were lured somewhere to slaughter. It is not. Yep, he allowed his kids not to be burdened or worried. Right. And I do believe I believe it's cultural. I just believe it's cultural. I feel like I've seen it so many times. Jay said I had a will done too. It's stressful, right? And he made light of it. He told me, now, you see, Shiloh gonna get this much. And like he said, it's like you got to rank your kids all over again. We know who the number one son is. We don't even need to ask that question. And this is huge for him too, right? Because why? He didn't live with Coach Prime growing up. I told y'all, I said, I have a feeling, I think when they had that show, I remember Miss Pilar and the kids and Coach Prime. But then I remembered at some point, Miss Connie, I think that was after the divorce. He had a different house. Miss Connie, maybe he still had the same house. But I just know Miss Connie was there taking care of the kids after school, and Shiloh was trying to order a Porsche. I was like, Shiloh has always been that one. He has always been that one. So we better celebrate this man's life and hold those accountable who speak with evil intent. That's what your voice is for. Prime gave it up all for his kids. Yep, and his program. That's facts. NFL would be exposed. They should be. They should be. They should be. Coach Prime did an interview with Michael Irvin. He told Irvin that Shedeur didn't want him to come to his practice. Coach Prime also said that a player pulled him to the side and he wants to talk. Okay. Let me put a star by that one. Thank you, Tina. We're going to have to get back to that tonight. Prayers to Prime. That really hurt my heart when I heard the news. Yeah, it does, because it hurt me because, yeah, he beat it, but it changes things. It's going to be different. He's going to be different. He is different. I'm happy that he made the sacrifice. It showed him that he's a stand-up guy. He's admirable. His kids are his priority. He's committed to CU's program. So I don't want to hear no more from the media about him not being committed to the program or being selfish or scapegoating him or lying on his son, trying to stress him out. Why Shiloh don't get the negativity from the media? Because Shiloh is not a black quarterback. That is what this is about. Yeah, they devalued every last one of them from CU. You're damn right. They even played in Travis' face to the point where he went fishing with Coach Prime, yes, out of care. But see, the NFL thought it was a plot, and they signed Travis on a weekend, on a Sunday. You see, when people plotting, they think everybody else plotting too. So Travis got his contract. And Jacksonville, like, I don't care what the hell y'all got going on. He's our number one player. We're going to feature him. So there will be no retaliation over here. I'm just waiting for a few of those owners to break the circle of collusion and do what is right. They should be God-fearing, but it proves that they're not. They believe in themselves. That's it. I see why Michael Irvin was crying through the interview. Look at what happened. Look at the fact that he almost lost. He could have lost his friend. Oh, the player told Coach Prime he wants the same walk that he did with Shador. Okay. Okay. I am standing taller and so proud of Coach Prime. Right. Right. A staunch defender, because that's what you're gonna have to be, because they're not gonna stop. Hey Regina, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Prime's going through a lot, right? He is. And when you go back to draft night, and you're gonna see it on that Netflix documentary, because I'd be surprised if it's not in there. All of this. Um, I remember how, at one point he was looking on, he and Shador. But I remember one point how he was looking, right? Uh he never looked worried. But I do remember when they were outside. I was like, he kind of look a little, look a little thin. But when they took the pictures up close, he still looked vibrant. Nothing had happened yet. But then when we didn't see him for a while, when he was out of his gazebo, he even said he didn't even want to go on the boat. He didn't want to leave his room. That's why Bucky said he was in his room. He didn't even want to leave his room. This was not easy to get to this place. But he knows that God saved him from the worst. So it helped him to get here, to see your purpose in this, to see God saved him from the worst. Just shame on the NFL. That's all I could say. That was just ugly. Just ugly. And now you know what he was privately going through. He didn't want his sons to know. He say Shador called him. He accidentally FaceTime Shador. Shador was like, wait, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? He didn't know. And no, Roger Goodell didn't know either. If Shador didn't know, Roger Goodell damn sure didn't know. And if so, he should have came and checked on him. Nobody from the NFL, probably out of Michael Irvin and Randy Moss and the people he named. Look at all of those people. Yep. This man made sacrifices. Cleveland let Shador get flattened today. He still got up and threw a touchdown. Since when are QBs hit at camp? Oh, really? Because all we heard is they not supposed to be hit. They not supposed to be hit. I'm going to tell y'all something. I always said, I thought about this today with Shador. I always said that one of the reasons I felt like as badly as much as Colin Kaepernick wanted to come back, the reason why he didn't is because God was protecting him from what he didn't know. And it tells you that Colin Kaepernick himself, even though he had to sue these people, right? It tells you that he himself did not realize that he would be the victim of retaliation. He would have thought bygones be bygones. Let's go out here and work out. Shador's thinking the same thing too. No. And if this is correct, what Bridget is saying, that QBs are not supposed to get hit, what happened? What happened? Or is that the case? Because people have been saying the QB not supposed to get hit. I'm like, is that with t-shirts and shorts? Is that why they put on pads? Because you can't get hit? Like I said, I believe that Shador himself does not realize that he himself is in danger. Somebody used the term he's being punished maybe for speeding tickets. Excuse me? Hello? Do you know how many players are actually guilty of something criminal and there's no retaliation against them? Hello? Are you serious right now? His own life could be in danger. He took enough hits at CU. I think they want him to ask for a trade or quit. I really think that's what it is. Why do these people think they can kick Shador every day? I don't know. But who's going to stop it? That's the question. Who's going to stop it? Yep, that's what Coach Prime is saying. Get checked out. Make sure you active every day. Why would one person hit Shador that hard if they're not supposed to be hitting the quarterback. Something is weird with that. Yep. I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to go and look at it. Eileen, welcome. Thank you for hanging out with us. Number 53 ran into him. Who is number 53? That's what I said, Amber. I think number 57 hit him. So now we're going to have to figure it out. So we're going to have to confirm 100%. Are they allowed to touch the quarterback in practice? Okuwana, they think is the person. So if Kiel, all of my sports experts, Gracie, if y'all know if the quarterback can be hit in pads because they wearing pads today, let us know. See if you can confirm it. If not, I'll confirm it after the podcast. Yep, the Browns are troublesome. Speaking life, healing, recovery, wellness, and restoration for Coach Prime and his family. Yep. Ayaba, welcome back. Yep. Prayers up for Coach Prime. Been a fan since 89. Yep. Florida State. Coach Prime star power and enables him, encourages millions. Yep. Shador was 9-9 today. Like the day before that, he was 4-4. At what point are they going to give him starter reps? None. I think they're trying to trade him. Or they gonna bench him for the season and use him as draft capital. He gonna be okay either way, but he can't be taking those hits if he's not supposed to be taking hits. But it just seems like his own team is gonna set him up, just like some of the people at Colorado. And if they use the black player against Shador, don't be surprised. So whoever it was, let's confirm who it is. Hey Bumpy, how you doing? Chanel all day said that I think that's Chanel said that how does Mary Cabot feel about antagonizing the man when he probably didn't even realize he was speeding? Mine probably wondering about what happened in the draft or anything. Yep, nope, I totally agree. I totally agree. But they know that. They know that. They know who he is. They told us they know who he is. They still don't want him on his team, and they're trying to use things that the public can't see. He's having trouble with the playbook. Okay. We don't believe you. The man has had 6 offensive coordinators, and the Giants and the Browns are the only ones to say anything ridiculous like that. Not Pittsburgh, not the Titans. AB and Chris Carter are evil. I totally agree with that. On Bucky video that he put out, the date was around May 9th. Okay. All right. So yeah, that was a little bit after the draft. So having to go and deal with all of that, yeah. Yep, he sacrificed himself for his kids. Yep. Once he learned what was happening, once he learned that his test came back showing a tumor, yeah, everything began to focus around your future, your perspective. I remember I posted a picture of Coach Prime on a private jet. He was headed somewhere. He had his arms crossed and he was kind of leaning forward. And he was talking about in one of his posts in that photo that somebody he knew, I think CU has celebrated the passing of a former coach or something. And I remember thinking, I wonder what was going through Coach Prime's mind. This was before, I think this was before the draft. I feel like he said everything was decided upon when he took time off to deal with the bull junk in the draft. So yeah, the NFL draft could have exacerbated things had he not known, or if they hadn't found that when they went to his checkup when it did. And the fact you have to look at the timing of things. It's the off season, which means he didn't have to be away. It's before the draft. The decision was made before the draft so that the stress doesn't exacerbate the tumor that was already aggressive. And it definitely could have. It definitely could have. And, then you have to look at it's year 3, not year 1, not year 2, which were critical. It's year 3. So year 3, the off season before the draft, that's God's protection and covering for Coach Prime. That's why I said the haters can stop, because you have been shown that he and his son are protected. I don't like him getting hit like that, but he's gonna be okay. And that door probably gonna swing open for Shador to be out of Cleveland, because they are clearly trying to abuse him. Who gonna step in? That's the question. The fans see it. The media sees it. Who gonna step in? Our words carry weight and power, so speak life to one another. Yup, that's true. Thank you, Crowley. Thank God. Thank you, God, for covering Coach Prime and his blessings and his entire family. I totally agree. I totally agree. Karuchi Train had me in tears. I didn't see her. I didn't see her. I didn't see, I guess the one I watched, I just saw the press conference. I didn't see her. I heard the reporters. So I don't know what who covered that one, but I didn't see it. It said good evening, what she said in chat. They were more worried about Karuchi Tran being there for his surgery than his health on X. Yeah, I didn't even hear anything about that. Oh, I haven't seen X today. Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me know. It said you would think the NFL would stop messing with him after this. You would think. You would think. You would think, but see, people see it, maybe because I'm from the South, maybe because I'm from Louisiana, maybe because I'm from New Orleans, the South. I don't know how people keep underestimating the heart of a racist. I think you have to go and look at what they do to babies, to children. There's no compassion for children, just like there was no compassion for the children at Garden Valley. Only Shador had that, right? And whoever else went out there with him, right? The Browns didn't show it. Maybe they feel like we moving, I don't care. Or maybe they feel like because they're not white, we don't care. But the point is, when people aren't compassionate to children, adults don't matter. You're disposable, right? Look at how Cleveland is abusing Shador, whether it's emotionally, physically trying to get him hurt, holding him back unjustly when he's the best, as if we don't see it. And the fact that we see it and they don't care about any consequences or repercussions tells you that they feel like they're untouchable. And we're going to see what God say about that. So if one thing about it, God does not leave his people anywhere that they are not appreciated. So that's why I expect that door to swing open and Shador to leave. So is he getting hit with the fact that they want him to get hurt so he's not in contention for QB1? Desperate people do desperate things. Who's going to hold Kevin Stefanski accountable? That's the question. If we see it, who's going to hold him accountable? So yeah, I didn't even know Carucci was there. I didn't even hear anything about that in the interview. So I guess I have to go and see that. I didn't even know they were still together. I had no idea. He kept that hush hush for sure. So are they friends or something? I don't know. Yes, I hope he gets the brand deal with the Pens because of what he said. Double for his trouble. Gotta respect the vulnerability. Right. He did say that, Erica. He said he had gone on Amazon and bought something to try to work with that. But you know, it did work out. That was hilarious when he said that. Being very vulnerable, very transparent. So he said they're gonna come up with something. So I think it's perfect, right? Because he has people in his age group. Look at all these NFL owners. They are older than him for the most part, right? Except for maybe one or two. So yeah, they could benefit. They know what he's going through. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves, especially Jerry Jones. All of them, but Jerry Jones too. Roger Goodell as well, because no, I didn't forget that Coach Prime had Roger Goodell's grandson. Was that his grandson on his on the roster at Jackson State? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the Gypsy Queen. I appreciate you. Welcome back. Shador is 9 for 9 and 2 touchdowns and no first team reps today. That's okay. Keep holding him back. That just mean they not gonna play him. Good. That means he can't get hurt. See, there's a danger here. There's a danger here in Cleveland, right? I'm holding you back. Now, people are talking about Kenny Pickett being traded. Why is there no talk about Shador being traded? Anybody notice? Anybody notice? There's talk about Kenny Pickett being traded or getting another quarterback for Kenny Pickett, but there's no talk about Shador being traded. Is he draft capital? You're going to sit him on the bench until we get to the next draft so you can trade him away? You would think the media would be all over the fact. Well, why don't they just trade Shador? Have you heard anybody say it? No, because they know why he hasn't been traded. The same reason he made it to 144 and went to the team that pre-draft with him at number 2 after he was taken off the board. We will talk about Shador tonight when I can go and find out some more information too. Thank you, Cameron. Coach Prime said in his interview with Michael Irvin that his first wife prayed with him. Yeah, they're really good friends. I'm glad to see that. Coach Prime is very, very forgiving. You sent the video to me. Okay, thank you, Tina. Thank you. Just watch how God is going to transform Shador in Cleveland. Yeah, right the hell out of Cleveland. If I had to guess. If I had to guess, they have shown time and time again they don't appreciate him. They don't want him. I told y'all he gonna get traded and they ain't gonna have nothing to do with it. That just like we are talking about this, and I told y'all the voices are already loud. I asked you, why is it the media haven't even said, why don't they trade Shador? If you don't want him, you don't value him, trade him. You don't need a QB1, the best person on your roster, to sit. If they can't trade him, collusion. That's what it proves. And maybe that's what needs to happen so that the people that are suing can strengthen their case and know this was not just about the draft. They can know that Coach Prime has been nowhere near Cleveland, so they lied and they scapegoated him so they can prove that this is about 17 to 32 black quarterbacks and white starting quarterbacks becoming the minority. So they can prove with a capital R that this is racism. So they can prove the reason why Cleveland is saying Shador can't pick up the playbook because the NFL has practiced race norming since its inception and was settling a case for $1 billion because they practiced, they had policies, and they paid based on race norming for concussions, saying that black NFL players, which includes Shador Sanders, has a lower cognitive functioning than whites like Jackson Dart. That's what it said. That's why this is still happening. So the truth can't come out about the NFL, who the Cleveland Browns really are, and the race norming that continues today. You would think a $1 billion settlement with a B was enough to make somebody get their shit together. But it seems to be that racism with a capital R is more important, and 17 of 32 is why we're all here today. 17 to 32, holding back black quarterbacks. Tennessee is nice to Cam after a noose shows up where? At their construction site for their new stadium. Why? Because the coach went on the record making fun of Cam Ward being difficult. And look what happened. Luckily in Cleveland, people don't think much of Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski anyway, that there's nobody targeting Shador. I say luckily, that's God. Going to an organization that already had a horrible reputation so the fans aren't trying to harm Shador. Stirring up racism. No, people just believe they're incompetent and inept, and hopefully they'll get it right one day. I even said it to myself. The Cleveland fans really believe everything that has happened to this organization is on the up and up. They believe everything, every loss they have. Oh, it's just bad. It'll get better. They believe everything that happened to Deshaun Kaiser was on the up and up. They believe what they see, the abuse that the reporters and or Cleveland, Stefanski and Barry are launching at Shador on a daily. It's just part of it. No. And that maybe that's what needs to come of it. So the Cleveland fans can wake up from their slumber and realize that they being played, which is why the team is trying to sneak out the whole damn city and make something for all of Ohio. How many teams do they have in Ohio? Isn't Cincinnati over there? Then why they not trying to do nothing? Because they don't want to be in Cleveland, but they want to take the damn name. Cleveland Browns fans need to wake the hell up. That's the ones that need to hold the Browns accountable, but I see that's not going to happen because they think, oh, this is just part of it. They don't see the racism. They don't see the malfeasance. They don't see it. They don't see the intentional lack of a winning strategy. They don't see that rotating 5 quarterbacks in 2023 was weaponizing instability against the 3 black quarterbacks. They don't see that the 2024 season was malfeasance again. Why they didn't bring Flacco back? They don't see it is negligence to bring back Stefanski. They don't see what Andrew Berry's true purpose is and how they use it and hide behind his melanin so he can play probably players on the dollar. But like I said, if I can take time to look at these contracts that are out here, I can see which ones are being underpaid. They don't see that Shedeur is the best quarterback they have, but because he's black, and NFL does not want the majority of their starters to be black. The NFL does not want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now per Mel Kiper Jr. on or before February 20th, 2025, and the combine that they shouldn't have drafted him. Did you hear anybody ask, well, why did they even draft Shedeur if they didn't want him? They didn't save him from nothing. They wanted to act like they were his savior. They were not. They were not. They were the ones that lured him in and cut him like bait. Fraud. That's what it is. When you apply for a job, since they want to say it's a job interview, when you apply for a job and they tell you, oh, we're going to hire you for this position right here, vice president, you're going to make X amount of money. Okay, we want you to be the person that leads us to victory. Oh, okay. But then after your last interview, when it's time for them to make the offer for the job, they offer you entry-level assistant. And you like, huh? I went through all of that, and now you wanted me to be your vice president or your president, but now you wanted me to lead, but now you want to stick me over here in the broom closet. Did you ever have the money to pay me? People asked you about it. You said you had it. So they have to devalue him to justify only paying him $4 million. When they interviewed him countless times with the pre-draft process at the number 2 franchise position for QB, countless times, $40-some-odd million. You have to really act a fool to justify not drafting somebody you interviewed countless times for a job making $40 million. But when you make the offer, you're going to only pay them 4, and they have no power. In fact, they the lowly person on the totem pole. You tricked them. You lured them. You lied to them. That's fraud. For one, it's illegal. So it is imperative for Andrew Berry and Stefanski to make sure Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur. And I told y'all, if Shedeur still look better than Dylan, they going to trade him. But seeming like they don't want to trade him, so they going to hurt him first. Oh, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. That's where we are. They don't want to trade him. Remember, they drafted him. He wasn't on the board. He magically appeared there. They don't want him. They don't appreciate him. They got him thrown to the equipment managers. They can't blame it on his father because he ain't been there. He been dealing with a private health crisis. He has not been there. So that means it wasn't what happened in the draft wasn't about Coach Prime. What's happening to Shedeur in Cleveland was not about Coach Prime. So you going to set him up to get hurt? That ain't going to work for you either, because we've seen that before. You're not afraid of accountability? Okay. Definitely not from the fans, because why? They're going to show up anyway, Deshaun Kaiser. But there are other people whose voices are loud, and they need to keep getting louder and louder. You see Shedeur getting hurt when a quarterback not supposed to get hurt. We talk about it. We ask questions. Because if they insist on, I'm not trading you as some type of abuse, but I'm going to let you get hurt, oh, we're going to have something to say. We're going to have something to say. Like I said, it is our job to bring accountability, to have these conversations. because there is no accountability from the fans. They are in a slumber. The rest are all in it together. New York, Cleveland, the NFL. So they're not going to do anything. The people who should have oversight are not going to do anything. It's not a coincidence he's on the same team with Deshaun Watson, because they did something to him too. That's why he got $230 million guaranteed dollars, and they don't want Shador talking to Deshaun Watson. They can't control everything, but they seem to think they can. Miss Carolyn has always been a class act. Master's degree, Texas State, opened her home to at-risk use while raising her children. Oh, wow. I knew she was a good person. Miss Pamela said it was number 53. I'll put a star in that. Thank you so much. They don't want Shador there. Then they should trade him. And people need to ask, why is the media not asking? They ask it all. They're talking about all kind of things. They need to get Shador ready. If you don't want Shador, why you just don't say it out loud? Well, why don't they just trade Shador? Because that's the question I'm going to be asking. Why you don't just trade him? The fact that the media doesn't ask it, and that's the obvious thing to do, because you're not playing him, you're not getting him ready. We all know he's good. So why don't you trade him? No, they trying to stand behind. He was a 5th pick. I don't give a damn what round he was picked in. They act like the round defines the skill set. No. They act like the NFL can't weaponize the rounds in the draft and manipulate the draft to take players that the NFL doesn't want, quarterbacks like Shador Sanders now, and devalue them to a later round and stick to the script that the later round QBs don't have any power or any say-so of their own jersey number or possibly starting. But here it is. We have a 5th round QB competing for QB1. Explain that. That's just as much of a damn question mark as how it is they draft Shador when he was not on the draft board. This is all a ruse, a setup. This was all an elaborate plot to ensure that when that draft ended, there were not 17 black starting QB1s. And now that the draft is over, because when you tell one lie, you got to tell another one. Now, what are they doing? Trying to make sure that Shador doesn't get to a starting position, not because it's 17-32. That's part of it. The other part is, see, I already lied. I said Shador wasn't good. I said his value to the first round of the draft was too high, Andrew Berry. Stefanski, I want Dylan Gabriel. He wants Dylan Gabriel, even though he didn't really want Dylan Gabriel. He wants Dylan Gabriel because why? I drafted him before Shador. So how the hell can Shador be better than Dylan Gabriel? That means I lied. They running around like a rat in a damn cage, trying to get away from the lies that they told. Too bad. Because you don't want to trade Shador because you really didn't draft him. So you want to keep him there. And you think abusing him is public, it's just going to pass by because your fans don't say nothing. Shador bought 3 million fans with him. 2 million bought jerseys. The rest are waiting. Freeman Harris said, hey, what she said, sports, number 53 to play before the tight end touchdown play per ESPN telecasters. Okay. All right. I'll check it out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Clara, for supporting the podcast. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Typically, the QB is no contact protected, which is why they are different color jerseys. So they wearing a different color jersey today. So you saying Shador wasn't supposed to get touched, but he got hit. And this time, instead of using a center who was white and mis-snapping the ball, he had tutelage from Shador and Myles Garrett after practice. So he can't mess up no more. So they moved on to somebody else. And this time, the somebody else is black. Black with a name that shows that he might be what? I'm tell you something, these guys coming into the league that are African, y'all better wake up. You better wake up and ask yourself why they came and got you, but don't play a game over in the continent that you're from or your parents are from. That they could go to Brazil, that they could go to Ireland, but they don't come to Africa. That they're not getting quarterbacks. They're not getting quarterbacks ready. They're taking what they do from HBCUs, what we call the bodies. In fact, that's what they call them. They better wake up. They were on I think they were somewhere in a thread arguing. I'm like, I don't know what you arguing for, because both of y'all gonna be second-class citizens in the NFL. They only pitting one against the other. At some point, somebody gonna rise up and start their own league. And it might not be Coach Prime, because we know why now, right? Never say never, but we see that's not a priority right now, because health is wealth. And he needs that to be there for his kids, and they need him to be there. We just need to get Shador through the storm by asking real questions, thinking critically, and calling these people out where applicable. QBs are off limits during training camp, according to Microsoft AI. Okay, all right. You don't mess with your franchise QB. They just trying to find him another way to tell him that they trying to find him another way to tell him he's not their franchise QB. It's funny how they want to keep telling him, we don't want you. We don't want you. I'm like, then trade him. Why is it so hard? Just trade him. Trade him. But you're not going to abuse him every day. No, you're not going to do that. Trade him if you don't want him. The NFL never had to draft him. That's how you know this is evil. That's why you know he's not safe. So getting out there and starting doesn't have to be. I don't know what they want him to do. I think they want him to quit. They harassing him like a corporation harasses people after they gonna sue them that they want to quit. That's how they treated Shador. Oh, he gonna sue us, so let's harass him so he quit. Well, he probably gonna sue when he quit. So I don't know why you would want that. These people don't think things through. If they thought things through, they would know holding him back in the draft was not enough. They would know scapegoating Coach Prime would not work for long because his character. They don't think things through, but they so evil and their hearts are so salty, they don't think straight. Shador better be careful up there, because they desperate. That's what today proves. If they had on different color jerseys, if the rules are that the quarterback can't get hit, they allowed somebody with melanin to hit Shador. They are pitting one black player against another, or a player of African descent more recently than an African American or a black player. So you don't say nothing. So you will think it's an accident because of the visual, the optics. It won't be so obvious. And to the person who may be allowing themselves to be used, your day coming. Right. They don't see him as that. That's why they treat him like that. Then they should trade him. Are they going to find number 53 for hitting Shador? We will find out about it. We definitely going to talk about it tonight, because I'm going to look into it. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. That's it. That's it. Did they call it 17 to 32? He said he going to look into 17 to 32. Okay. It's like the NFL wants everybody to watch Shador get lynched. That's what you saw in the draft. They just back at it. They think there's nobody that's going to say anything. That's where the fans come in. And I'm telling y'all, I know we pray and that's what you're supposed to do, but faith without works today, y'all got to call these people out. Because I'm telling you, I have already painted the picture. Most of the Cleveland fans believe that everything is on the up and up in Cleveland. They don't know Shador. So they're thinking whatever the media tells them about Shador, that he's not good, that he's not good. Why they're not willing to go look for themselves, I do not know. I do not know. I don't know the people in Cleveland, but I'm telling you, that's how they feel. Facts. They were prepping Pickett up. This is a minor hamstring. He's an outstanding QB and will lead the team. That Pickett has shown he's the best. Good. Because Shador don't need to be on their field, because they're going to make his life hell. I think that's basically what they're telling you. They're telling you they're not going to trade him because they can't. I think they want him to quit. They definitely don't want him to be QB1. They definitely don't want that. So the day after Pickett gets hurt, they trying to hurt Shador. This is the day after the fourth string QB, is missnapping with the team. What they're going to say is, well, he can't be our starter because he didn't get enough reps with the ones, even though they control that. These people are moving like they have absolutely nobody to be held accountable to. None. That's how they moving. That's how they moving. Miss Anyway said that didn't make sense because they are down one QB and another one out for a couple of weeks. They need all your QBs healthy. That's their way of showing you what they showed you in the draft about Shedeur. They don't want him. I don't even know why the hell they had to have him as a part of their draft duties. Why they think they don't have to be accountable to anybody, I have no idea. But that's how they moving. We can do what we want to Shedeur, even though it's public, even though y'all clearly saw it and can see it, and people gonna talk about it, and we gonna talk about it tonight. That's what needed to happen. That's I was shocked on day one of the open practice that nobody was there. But these rest of these open practices, the people in the area that can get there, y'all need to get there and show up for Shedeur. 2 million people bought jerseys. Surely somebody got to be in Cleveland that y'all can get together and show up at open practices with a display. Let these people know Shedeur ain't out here by himself. If you don't hear the media asking, because people be lighting the media up in the comments. And if you in these comments, you need to be asking. If they clearly don't want Shedeur, they look like they trying to get him hurt. Why don't they just trade him? I would love to hear an answer to that question. It's rhetorical, but I would love to hear it. So we're going to get out of here. We'll be back to talk about Shedeur tonight, 10:35. Turn your notifications on. I have to go catch up. I didn't see Carucci. Y'all said it's in the well off video. I'll go check it out. And I didn't see what happened at practice. Obviously, nor have I been on X. So I have some looking into some things to do. So we'll be back at 10:35 tonight. I'll find out what I can about everything that y'all basically said. Thank you for joining the podcast. Thanking God, giving the glory to God that Coach Prime is cancer free and he's back. That's first and foremost. But Shedeur is a priority. I said it. I could be talking about a million other things. I got in a NASCAR minute, but the reason why you keep seeing me use the same thumbnail is because Shedeur is the priority. What's happening to Shedeur in Cleveland is what happened to Shedeur in the draft. Same thing. You tell one lie, you have to tell another one. They held him back in the NFL draft. They got away with 17-32 in the draft. Now they're playing keep away with Shedeur Sanders at QB1, and the media is not going to even call it out. Cleveland fans are in a slumber. So it's up to the 3 million fans that we know are out there, 2 million for sure that bought jerseys, and the other million that's waiting. Hold these people accountable. Let your voices be heard via post, text, conversations, podcasts, etc. It has to happen. The voices are already loud about first team reps. Now we need to talk about why was Shedeur hit, and we need to talk about Cleveland abusing Shedeur, not wanting him, rather allowing him to get hurt, but not willing to trade him. Push for it. It'll happen. Social media is powerful. That's why so many people on here. All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to see y'all later tonight, 10:35. What She Said Sports. Thank you for joining. I'll see y'all later. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.